Hello everyone, I'm here to show off a new blueprint I made called the Landscape Alterer. And basically what it does is it alters the terrain so that your roads can adjust to your landscape. To set the scene, we have this road system I got from OpenStreetMap, and it imported a bunch of real roads, and it has a nice little low volume intersection. I picked this road system layout because it has a good combination of main roads and road connections, so we can see how different road types adjust to the landscape and how they would interact with one another. I also downloaded the height map from a very mountainous area and then scaled it way down so it's not as mountainous now. It's more of like an extreme hills type of landscape, and you can see a lot of the landscape is clipping under and over the road. The roads don't have too many spline points when it imports from OpenStreetMap, so this is a good representation of a landscape that could be troublesome to try to go over and fix manually with the landscape sculpting tool. So I have the landscape alterer blueprint as its own blueprint, and eventually I'll move it into the Mass Road Manager blueprint in a separate category. But for the people that want to use it early, I'm going to make it its own blueprint. That way you can just use it, and once it actually gets into the dynamic road system, you can just delete it. Now, to show it off, I'm going to press Adjust Landscape, and it fixes a lot of landscape overlap issues. There are still a few things that you may notice, like these road connections. I've noticed that it can have issues in that it doesn't update the road after the landscape is adjusted. If you were to go into the road and update it in any sort of way, it will fix it. This is because it's using the old landscape data to plot the spline points. Like you can see where it dips down, it should really be straight across. Now if I were to change any setting in this, I know it will update. So let me change the resolution multiplier, and just like that, it updates. You don't want to have to do this for every road, so you may have to go into the Mass Road Manager blueprint and press Update All Roads. Alternatively, the road connections would update if you were to close out of your project and then open it back up. I tried having it update all the road connections in the blueprint right after the alteration finishes, but the dynamic actors are being tricky, so you will have to use one of the methods mentioned before. This one's a little bit weirder case, and the way that this spike is able to show through is because it's ignored, since it's right in between a road and a road connection. So this is a small and infrequent error you may have to look out for, and the type of thing you may have to change manually. Let me briefly go over the blueprint itself. I don't know why you still have to scroll all the way down into the details to reach the options, but let me close all these tabs so you can see the category where we actually have the options, and it's just underneath the default tab. We already saw what Adjust Landscape does. Under there we can see the layer name is by default just called Layer, and the final options are the Falloff values. Let me go into landscape mode to show off what layer means. So by default, you have initial layer, just called layer, and in order to get this, you need to enable layers on your landscape. Most people probably would anyway, but that is something you need to do in order for this to work. This layer is my only layer, and it's the one that has my height map associated with it. It's also important to note that this blueprint is using a destructive method in order to get these results. A destructive method means that when you save this landscape, with these changes, there's no way to get your landscape back to its original topography. If you don't like the results after you press Adjust Landscape, you can always press Ctrl Z, or otherwise known as the undo button, and it will revert back just fine. I'm looking into ways to do this non-destructively, but it will probably require an additional plugin to be installed. I like this current method in that it should work right out of the box, and it requires no additional work for the user, and the magic lies in a special node called Editor Apply Spline, and what this does is it uses a spline to edit all the landscape. So let me go over how much there is to this blueprint. It's not too bad, but there's quite a bit of math that's needed, especially in the road connection. This is the main road, and this is to adjust the road connections. I don't have anything to adjust the parking lots just yet. The crossing lot blueprint may have to have the landscape just be edited by hand, or I may need to use the landmass plugin in order to get that to work. The other two blueprints can just use a spline to alter the landscape, and I like the simplicity in that approach. I'll press Adjust Landscape again, and you can see it works. You can kind of see the area of effect if you go over here. This is a very exaggerated height difference because a lot of the road is hovering before the landscape is adjusted. I mean, you can just see how much of it is hovering above the ground. So realistically, I think you would want to add a few more spline points because it does really change the landscape. But I can press Adjust Landscape and you can see that it adjusts very nicely. We also have a main roadside fall off and a road connection side fall off. And basically what that does is you can see the area of landscape alteration falls off a certain distance away from the edge of the road. So if I were to change this, let me press Ctrl Z again before I do anything, and let's make it 1,000. So you'll be able to tell that it kind of falls off a lot further. You can see the road shapes the hill leading up to it a lot more subtly now, but it also affects more of the landscape. It's really noticeable if I do a really short fall off, so let me do, say, 200. So remember what that last one looked like? Now look at this one. It is a lot more of a steep hill, so you can really adjust it to whatever you like. You can tell if it's too drastic, it kind of gives you these jagged triangles, because you got to remember your landscape has a certain resolution. So if you make it too steep of a drop too quickly, there's not going to be enough points between the slope to make it a gradual decline. I think that's just about everything, so let me set it back to the normal fall off. This blueprint is available for download on Discord and in the description of this video. A person on Discord requested this for their project, so I wanted them to have this early version while I try to put a few more update requests into the next update of the dynamic road system. I would like to take a moment to thank all those in our Discord server for your support. You all help us make a better product, so thank you. I'll see you all in the next update video. Until next time.